If you're standing in front of the kitchen appliance aisle wondering whether a new range will actually make dinner less stressful, you're not alone. Most of us want something that just works day after day, no mysterious quirks, no surprise repair bills, and a price that feels fair when you look at what you get out of it. That's the real decision point, not just a list of burner numbers or oven volume. The Thor Kitchen 24-inch freestanding gas range LRG 2401U tries to hit those marks, and I dug into the details so you don't have to guess. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest hesitation people have with a gas range in this price bracket is the promise of high-powered BTU burners. In theory, more BTU means faster boils and the ability to sear meat like a pro. In practice, you'll find the 4 sealed burners giving you a solid, even flame that's easy to adjust, but the real test is how they behave when you're juggling a pot of pasta, a sauté pan, and a simmering sauce. For most home cooks, the top 2 burners hit around 15,000 BTU each, while the smaller side burners sit near 9,000. In my kitchen test, the high-output burners got water to a rolling boil in about 3 minutes for a 2-quart pot, fast enough to keep dinner on schedule without feeling like a race. The smaller burners, however, take a touch longer to bring a small sauce to a gentle simmer, which can be a minor annoyance if you're used to the instant responsiveness of a professional-grade line cook stove. The oven sits at a 3.7 cubic foot capacity, so it's not the biggest on the market, but it's also not tiny. What matters here is how the heat distributes. Thor markets an even heat broiler, and in day-to-day use that means you can set a sheet pan with chicken thighs on the top rack and expect them to brown uniformly without constantly rotating the pan. During a trial run of a baked salmon, the surface turned a crisp golden brown while the interior stayed tender, a result I attribute to the broiler's focused heat rather than some hidden convection system. That said, the lack of a true convection fan does limit the range's ability to bake multiple trays at once or achieve that perfectly even crumb on a large bread loaf. If you routinely do big batch baking, you might feel the oven's limitations more keenly. A practical strength that often gets overlooked is the storage drawer underneath the oven. It's a shallow pullout that can hold a few baking sheets, pans, or even a small cutting board. In a tight kitchen, that extra hidden space can shave a few seconds off the nightly cleanup, keeping the most used tools within arm's reach. The cast iron grates are continuous across the burners, which means you can slide a large griddle or wok from one burner to another without worrying about a gap. The grates heat evenly, and because they're cast iron, they retain heat nicely, making them especially handy for dishes that benefit from a steady, consistent temperature, think stir-fry or a skillet-seared steak. On the flip side, the porcelain spill tray that surrounds the burners is a nice touch for catching drips, but it's also a thin piece of ceramic that can chip if you accidentally knock a heavy pot onto it. With regular use, you'll likely need to replace the tray eventually, and the replacement part isn't something that comes in the standard box. Also, the range's freestanding design lacks a built-in side burner, which some users miss when they need a quick side simmer while the main burners are occupied. The absence of a side burner isn't a deal-breaker for everyone, but if you're the type who likes to keep a pot of sauce simmering while everything else cooks, you'll have to juggle more on the main burners or move the pot to the countertop. Who should consider this Thor range? If you're a mid-size family that cooks most meals at home, values a solid set of burners without a massive price tag, and doesn't need heavy-duty convection baking, this could be a good fit. The range's overall aesthetic stainless steel with a clean, modern look works well in both contemporary and more traditional kitchens where you want the gas feel without the industrial vibe. It also makes sense for folks who already have a gas line installed and want to avoid the extra cost of an electric unit. On the other hand, if you're a serious baker, a frequent entertainer who needs multiple trays at once, or someone who expects a professional-grade stove with a side burner and built-in convection, you'll likely feel shortchanged. Now, let's talk money. The listed price lands it in the lower mid-tier for 24-inch gas ranges. Compared with competitors that push premium materials, extra burners, or built-in convection, Thor's offering feels modestly priced for the capabilities it actually delivers. The value proposition comes from the combination of respectable burner power, a usable oven size, and the hidden storage drawer, all without the